It's fine. As long as I've got...
and it's not mine.
As long as I've got you... As long as I've got you, this podcast will be with two people.
Today.
I'm in a very singing mood today. What if our topic today was you had to sing your poem?
Oh.
Do we like it? No. I was actually I what was that?
A big noise from my face.
I'm gonna for everybody, I'm gonna replay that back right now.
Oh.
Wasn't that a weird noise?
I hate you so much. I love you entirely.
You love me.
I do. I do, though. Oh my god. What's happening?
Weird start. We're starting for weird start.
Speaking of hating ourselves.
I'm going to get my non-squeak chair.
Oh god. You forgot the squeaky chair again?
I forgot my squeaky chair. I'm sorry. Okay. You said something.
Okay, so just between us two, I've been binge watching Riverdale, and I know I hate myself for it, but also it's amazing.
I'm back.
You get it.
I don't know what you're saying.
And that's just between you and me.
I don't know what you're saying.
You're never gonna know.
Okay, you need to stop doing that because I not only listen to these, I edit them. So the minute I cue into this, I hear everything you say.
It's just between me and the listeners, so it's all okay.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
What were you saying before I left?
How are you?
I'm doing well. I just got back from Texas, actually 20 minutes ago.
That's so sweet.
And then I hopped on this call. I said, you know what? I'm going to record a podcast fresh off a plane. I went to go see my cousins. They've got little kids and they've got dogs and they're very cool. And I've gone to see them a couple of times. They lived near me when I lived in DC.
Nice.
And they were kind of the people who I saw the most during the pandemic and the most when I sort of lived over there. So I like to see them every once in a while. And so I went to go see them and I went to hang out with their kids.
Texas.
The weather. Winters are gross. They're both Floridians, so they weren't acquainted with the snow and the wind and the brisk. So they moved to Texas. What about you? How are you doing?
Still living the dream. Not mine, someone else's.
That's good. Yeah.
I've made that joke before. I feel like I can't make it again.
You have made that joke before.
Yeah.
All right, you want me to ask you again so it doesn't sound completely unoriginal?
Yeah, let's do it.
So how are you doing?
I'm grand.
How did I forget? As the question was coming out of my mouth, I forgot what I was asking you. Do you ever do that? You know exactly what you're going to say.
Oh,
and then you you clearly pause and think you've grasped it and nothing was ever there to begin with. And you're like, so how,
To answer your question. To answer your question and also elaborate on that, I have started a new job out by the TKTS steps in Times Square. Ooh.
Oh, the TKTS steps in Times Square. Wait, are those the red ones that are in the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
They sure are. Wait.
That's the only way I know.
What? I haven't seen that, so I don't know. Is it Big Red Steps?
Big Red Steps, yeah.
Okay, then yeah. That's them.
What are you doing at the Big Red Steps?
So I am handing out flyers in Times Square. Ooh. Very exciting.
Ooh.
Living the dream. But so yesterday I was working out there and it was about 20 degrees and some fun rain/sleet snow was coming on down. And
you're like a newsie.
I guess so. No strikes happening. We're all good there, but
that's good.
There was a point to this. What was I saying?
I don't know.
I don't either. Oh, you were the words were coming out of my mouth, but they weren't coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I was saying to someone who I was trying to hand a pamphlet to, and they were like, we know what we're seeing. And I was trying to say, awesome, sounds great, have a good day. And instead, what came out was, and I think they looked into my eyes and I could see them acknowledging that I was having a stroke and just also just letting me flounder. And I just walked away. And it was perhaps the most unsatisfying interaction I've ever had with another human being in my entire life.
I would go see the show. I would immediately go see it. If I was like, no, I'm sorry, we're going to see a different show. And the person responded with, like, this girl needs help. If we don't go to the show, I think she's fired and she needs medical assistance for sure.
For sure is gonna die in the next 20 minutes.
She's got a couple of blood vessels that are bigger than they should be. So we gotta help her. The literal definition of a stroke.
Yeah. Ooh, it me stroking.
Ooh, a future.
Ooh, future.
Ooh, how terrifying.
I'm not poking fun at strokes. They terrify me to my core, and I feel like sometimes on a daily basis when I'm thinking something and what's coming out is I'm like, that's it's fair. Happening. It's happening. So I don't want anyone to think I'm making fun of it. I'm just living in fear. How's everybody else doing?
Well, I was literally about to say, my entire family, everybody on my dad's side has sort of a droopy right side of their face. So like we can naturally? All easily wink. Yeah, like just naturally. And it especially comes out like when we drink, that like sort of like your eye sort of like closes a bit more and you've sort of got like a whoopy face. And of course, obviously when you have a stroke, I think it's always the left side of your face, is it not?
I don't know if it's always the left side. It's the fact that in hemispheres you can kind of move. Yeah. Like one over the other can move.
Okay, well that's scary because I thought I was fine because whenever, do you ever like sit on the couch or something and you're like, my face is droopy? When you just like, honestly, I had a time at my last theater contract where the right side of my face kept going numb. And like, cool. I don't know if it was droopy, but it was like from my chin to like up here on my cheek, like just under my nose was like totally numb. And I was like, I'm scared that I'm dying now. Raise your hand if you're concerned. Oop, I can't raise my hand. Guess we're going to the hospital.
Too bad I'm in Colorado and the closest hospital is 3 hours away.
Oh no, and through the mountains.
Hey, it's given me so much fodder for my poetry, so like it's all worth it in the end, right?
Fear makes good content. Wait, we had an entire section 2 episodes ago where we had a little song about how trauma makes good content, and you said we had to cut it all out, and I'm pretty sure I did.
Well, here's the thing. Trauma does make good content, but I never want to be joking about like other people's trauma or like, I mean, I joke about my own, so like forget that. But like,
I mean, that's the issue. I mean, that's the issue that I find is that I'm a very, you know what? I totally undercut you. You were totally talking. Please continue.
No. That was kind of the end of my thought, but it piggybacks on what you're saying. So keep going.
I just saw your face deflate and I was like, oh, no. I took her thunder out of her hand and I put it in my mouth and I said, no. I had thunder.
I am made of thunder. You can't take my thunder. It's untakeable. Oh. You talk.
Put that in a poem and write it.
I honestly should. I think I have.
Made of thunder.
Now that I'm thinking about it. Let me go through my manuscript.
That's okay. So what I was saying, shoot, I already forgot it. Oh my God. What the hell were we talking about?
We were talking about trauma and
that was it.
I don't want to make fun of other people's trauma, but like the way I deal with my trauma is that I make fun of it.
I process through humor. I process through vocalization. I like when I've gotten to the point where I can discuss it and where I can go through it, I want to discuss it because that's kind of how I process things. It's how I work. when I'm going through a short film, or when I'm going through an animation topic, or when I'm going through a poetry or whatever, it helps for me to talk through all those things and to dissect them verbally and have that like that volley back and forth with somebody in that brainstorming session. But I need to like more knowingly acknowledge that like other people are not like that. They don't like talking about things. It's not an easy thing for them. Like me, therapy was a breeze. Like I think therapy is for people who don't know how to vocalize their thoughts more than people who know how to vocalize their thoughts and need to put the pieces together.
That's so interesting.
I mean, I'm not a therapist, so I could be wrong.
No. But I think that's a really interesting...
We can quickly touch on... I am actually curious how your manuscript is going. I mean, we don't have to talk about it a lot if you don't want to.
Honestly, I think she's going okay. I found a couple more poems / wrote a couple more poems that I think I could use for my first section. Yeah, I think it's all falling into place. Currently, I have it at 29 pages with it all. As Cory knows, maybe this is news to all of you, but I like to not format my poems, but just put each new thought on a different line. And I have...
Which I think is fine. I think that's fine.
I think it's funny because I think... I realized while I was editing, I think that's how I speak it, but that's not necessarily how the poem needs to flow on a page. And I'm starting to get that now. That it can still be a somewhat separate thought and doesn't need to be on a new line. So that's been interesting in the editing process. But I'm down to 29 pages right now. And I have a couple more that I maybe want to add. Some that I'm not sure if they belong in there. Everything is color-coded, maybe too much. Some things have shifted color codings, which has been interesting. Mm-hmm. And that's just been today because I've had a very busy week with my various jobs. And yeah. How's yours going?
I think it's going okay. I haven't worked on it a ton since I think we talked last, which would have been Thursday or Friday. The idea that you gave me of how to structure my manuscript, I thought was phenomenal. So I'm only doing 24 poems. And at the moment, I have 23 sectored into the different blocks.
Nice.
So the only one that I'm missing is the middle poem.
Nice.
I don't know how many of those I actually do want to keep in, but because of the way that I'm sectioning it, they do all kind of need to have a particular tone and emotion and meaning, where they're put.
Yeah.
So it would be hard for me, I feel to swap one out for another one. At the moment, I think they are fairly structured, and I think it's good. I do need to finish a couple of them. And we have, 2 more weeks until it's due, or 3 weeks?
I think the official due date was the 5th. I'm trying to have mine in by the 2nd at the latest.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing of if I could get it done sooner.
Right.
Just get it done sooner.
Right.
Because I know a lot of the stuff that I have in there is stuff that I wrote within the last year. And so, I mean, actually, it all is, obviously. It's all the stuff that I've written since we started the circle and then we started the podcast. And so, theoretically, I could be writing new stuff that would constantly make me feel better, and I'd be like, this is better than the last one, and so I could, but I think I would feel better if I were to cut it and package it and be like, this is good, this is pristine, I've built it, it's fine, it's good.
I'm struggling a little bit with that too, with older poems that I wrote in Chicago that maybe have some they have some merit topic-wise, but structure-wise, I'm I feel I have grown so much as a poet in the last couple months that I'm looking back on it and I'm oh no. So I'm restructuring a little bit and seeing if that works better, or, nervous about including it in its entirety because I'm I get the idea of it, but I've just changed so much as a poet in the last couple months even, that I'm something that I wrote a couple months ago that might have value to the manuscript. I'm I'm just like chewing my fingernails over it. I'm like, ooh.
I'm afraid that I'll get to the point where I've like over atrophied trying to put it together. Like where you're, what is it, diminishing returns?
Where you're like over editing?
Yes. Yeah. Well, like, so I've been drawing faces on my iPad since I got it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And at first it was just kind of learning my iPad. So I was just sitting down and making faces. And then I was really liking how the faces were looking. And then I kept drawing more faces. And then I got to the point where I've probably drawn 150 faces. And so now I'm just like sitting down, and whenever I turn on the TV, I start drawing faces. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like getting slightly bored with myself and know I should like, you should stop doing this, because it's not something you're forcing yourself to do, but it's also not something you're doing out of like just random joy anymore. Mm-hmm. And so like maybe you're good. Maybe you can rest. Maybe enough can be enough, even if it's just something small.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Damn, art is hard, y'all.
It is.
It's like, it's hard to toe that line of like always wanting to be working on yourself, but also like waiting for the inspiration to strike.
And do you feel like a sellout if you're like manufacturing art rather than just letting it organically produce out of you?
Yeah. I've been like I feel like I have this idea for a poem that I wrote like 5 different versions of this week to try and fit it into the manuscript. And it all felt so like disingenuous. And like, I was like, am I just a fraud if I include this, you know?
You wouldn't be, but I think you can already tell based off of that reaction that it's not going to be your best.
Right. Yeah.
Like you that twinge of emotion that you have. I mean, it's like the same type of thing of when you go on a first date and you're like, should I go on another date with this person? No. If you have to have that thought, you don't want to go out with them again.
Right.
Like you shouldn't be like spinning your wheels and wasting your time on something that like, you know, or I don't know. I mean, I know there are plenty of other people that would say the exact opposite. And they're like, you need to continue to like push through and grind through until you like get to what you want. And that's also fair. There's probably a mixture between like letting things naturally occur for you and being the natural occurrence for the things that you want. And I'm sure there's some type of magical mixture. And I myself always just want to go on autopilot with one of the two and just make a solid system where I don't need to constantly be making active decisions in order to make my life what I want it to be. And I would rather just like hit a button and let it be like, okay, cool. Now we're excited.
So accurate.
Everything's happening.
So accurate. So real.
I've found a way to inspire myself continuously with the most minimum effort possible. And I enjoy the work I'm doing, and I'm waking up before 9. What is happening?
Toss. Oh my God.
Toss. But that's not
real. For all you listeners at home, we are hair tossing.
I don't know why I thought you were going to be like, for all the listeners at home, we're hammered. I don't know why. That's what I was so sure you were going to say that. I was like, what are you talking about?
You decide, are we hair tossing or are we hammered? Maybe a little bit of both.
Natalie has fully admitted to have drank a large majority of a large bottle of wine. Are you showing it to me? It's a boxed wine.
It's a box of wine. And you take that as you will. I don't personally know how deep into the box of wine I am. You decide. I'm going to let you listeners at home decide how deep into this box of wine I am. You tell me. Come back to me.
I'm not some type of sommelier or elitist. I'm just saying that I've only ever had boxed wine once.
You need to get into the Boda box, the world, the sweet world of Boda boxes. Because honestly, I know like I feel like the vibe is like, Franzia, boxed wine, blech, it's trash. This is a
I don't
lovely
have that
Boda
vibe.
box, which is it's 3 liters of wine, which is like 4 bottles in one box. It's a lot of wine. But
see,
it's
I don't think of
bad.
I don't think of Franzia as trashy, and that's only because I go off of the Kristen Wiig, Kathy Lee Gifford sketch. Do you not know what I'm talking about?
I don't. I've never seen this, but I love it already. Also, rest in peace, Kathy Lee. No.
Neither Kristen Wiig or Kathy Lee Gifford.
Kathy Lee Gifford is fine. Okay? It's Kirstie Alley.
Who the hell were you thinking?
And I was upset about it.
Oh, Kirstie Alley died. That's who died. I was trying to think of somebody who died for days now, and I couldn't remember who it was. That's who it was.
It's Kirstie Alley. Also,
should we write some poems?
Sick. But yes, we should write some poems.
Okay, so I'm going to do that again, and you're not going to make Celine Dion.
I'm going to shut the fuck up for 5 seconds.
Okay.
Don't worry about my box of wine. Okay?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to them?
Everybody. Myself, you,
okay,
all the listeners out there. Go back to talking about this sketch about...
Oh, I don't know. Like, Kristen Wiig continually does sketches where she is Kathy Lee Gifford and someone always plays Hoda Kotb.
Oh, that's delightful.
And there's probably dozens of them, and they're incredible.
I love that.
And I think my favorite ones are when Jenny Slate is Hoda Kotb. And I just think they're great. They're all great.
I love Jenny Slate. Have you seen Marcel the Shell in Shoes?
Of course I have, and it's nominated for the Best Animated Film in the Oscars.
I had no idea.
It is.
I watched it on the plane to Texas when I was so ill. I was so sick.
So good.
It was so good. Did I weep on the person sitting right very next to me? I did. Did I snot all over the person at the window seat? I sure did. It was so beautiful. I was weeping.
This sounds like the most vile plane ride I've ever heard.
It was vile. It was also 2 hours longer than it should have been. So. There was a storm outside of where we were supposed to land. So we landed in Houston instead of Austin. So we landed in Houston.
Call back. I was in Austin.
Oh, that's wild. We landed in Houston. I'm sorry, it was San Antonio.
And that's not
Houston.
Austin.
Then we had to refuel. And then the pilots were like at their time limit, so they couldn't take off right away. Otherwise, they would be taxiing for longer than their time limit allowed. So we had to wait until they could taxi immediately into takeoff. And then finally, at 2 o'clock in the morning, got to San Antonio, not Austin, sorry. And then also in that time, I watched Marcel the Shell with shoes on, and it was glorious. This was pointless.
With shoes on.
With shoes on. It was glorious, and this is pointless, and let's write some poems.
Okay. We totally didn't. I don't think we introduced ourselves earlier at the beginning.
Nope, sure didn't. Hi.
Hi. I'm Natalie.
That's Cory.
And this is Pathetic and Poetic.
I'm Cory. And that's Natalie.
That's Natalie.
This is Pathetic and Poetic.
Pathetic and Poetic.
We're doing great.
Great times.
In case you were wondering.
You weren't wondering.
Mental health.
All of it.
100%.
Aces.
Physical health. 100%.
We're green stars.
Emotional health.
We love it.
100%.
Perfect.
Green stars all the way.
Fantastic.
Do you watch Riverdale?
I have. I wouldn't consider it like a present tense. I think it's more of like a past tense. I thought the first season,
as it should be.
The first season, I would say, and it was flawless. A flawless first season. Second season,
impeccable.
Didn't make a lick of sense, and I stopped halfway through.
I have been watching it. I hate myself for watching it. Mm-hmm. I am obsessed with it.
I felt that with 13 Reasons Why.
Ooh, I never watched that.
The first season came out in what I would say was, at the time, the worst I'd ever felt emotionally.
Ooh, okay.
I was coming off a hard bad time. and the first season came out, and I thought watching it would be nice. And I do remember telling my mom about it. She was like, why are you watching this? She's like, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like a good idea for you right now. And I was like, just let me watch it. I'm just going to watch the show. And then during the pandemic, I don't know where that voice came from. Just sort of erupted.
I loved it though. I don't care where it came from. I loved it.
I need to stop like shaming myself when I do weird shit, because it is my default, and I immediately do the Midwestern apology of, well, I'm sorry that I've inconvenienced you with myself. I really apologize, and I don't mean to do it with my me. I'll certainly put it away and clean it up next time, but I wanted to apologize sincerely. Here's a cobbler. Anyway, welcome to the neighborhood.
You and your cobbler, shut the fuck up.
Boom. No, but then I binge watched the rest of the 14 Reasons Why, 15 Reasons Why, and 16 Reasons Why. That's not what they're called. But just the seasons 2, 3, and 4. I was just doing basic math during the pandemic.
I didn't know that that's not what they were called. That's not what they're called. Oh,
you're like, all right.
That's so many reasons.
That's a lot of reasons.
Oh boy.
We should talk about topics.
We should talk about topics. I was thinking we could do...
I know you were going to talk about Riverdale.
I was going to talk about Riverdale, but it's all I wanted to say is I'm watching it, and it's sad that I am, and that it exists, and that I'm watching it. That's all I have to say about that.
I'm glad we went back to that. Yeah.
You had a topic idea. I want to hear it.
I did have a topic idea. So when I was flying in, I had the original idea of a poem about if you could be in another city, or if you could be anywhere else, where would you be? Because obviously I was flying, and I was like, that's interesting. But then I had another idea, and I was like, what if you just had to visually describe your dream home in a poem, prose, whatever? You just had to be like as visual as possible. You had to paint a picture that somebody could construct in their mind of just, and maybe, I don't know if you have this as well, but I have a lot of varietable ideas of like what a dream home could be. And I would love the idea of like having each and every one of them. I don't know if you have the same love and or want for some type of perfectly constructed dwelling place as I
would say like that's it's a weird thing for me, because I have been so like nomadic in my life, and I've moved around so much that like that hasn't necessarily been like on my radar. Like okay. I don't know that I have a visualization of like a dream home, but that's so funny that you say that, because the prompt that I was going to suggest is like just like talk about the best place you've ever been, or like the most amazing kind of space you've ever walked into, that you could see yourself just like relaxing into, that like
Kalahari Safari Water Resort and Park.
Yeah, or whatever it is, forever. Like you could see yourself dying there and being happy. Happy as a clam.
Oh God, I don't know. Do you have one in mind?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But we could do your dream home idea.
But I don't want to do it if you don't have that. Like, if that's not something that you would be able to like fully sink your teeth and tear off a chunk of flesh for, I don't want to. Sorry, content warnings for bloody animalistic visuals.
Body horror light to you. I feel like for me it's more travel based. So there's like destinations I am like dreaming that someday I'll get to.
Okay.
So maybe it's that. Maybe that's the prompt of like what is the dream you have that seems like just a little bit out of reach, but you visualized every inch of it.
Oh, that could be everything. That could be anything.
I know.
I mean, that could be...
Is it too broad or is it too narrow?
I don't know. Because that could be like... I'm one of those people that like the minute I see that somebody else can attain a dream or attain a thing, I then believe, oh, well, that's doable. Like that's possible. Like other people have been nominated for an Oscar. I could be nominated for an Oscar. There we go. Simple. Easy. Another word. You know?
Simple. Easy. Another
word. Okay. Well, so would you write an entire poem about travel?
Maybe. There's something that like someone kind of brought to my radar recently as like a trip they're doing.
Okay.
And I think financially it's a little out of my reach, but I would love to go with them. So I'm like,
okay.
But also it's like a beautiful location.
Okay. I say you write this rewritten future history. I will rewrite my rewritten future history.
I think that's perfect.
And we'll see where we go. Okay. I like that. Okay. That's very good. Okay. Let's get to rating. I'm going to pause. You pause. And we will return in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Pathetic and Poetic's very first time warp.
It can't be our first.
No, it's our first.
I know. Episode 2 was a whole time and a half.
True. But it all happened on one night.
That's true. This is
our very first and probably not our last time warp.
That's fair.
Do we sound a little different?
We have to.
Does it seem like we're maybe a little older than when you
wiser
started this
to you?
podcast?
Do we seem maybe hungover?
Perhaps.
At
least one of us?
Is it New Year's Eve right now?
It is.
It is. And this episode comes out on the 2nd of the new year?
It does.
Oh, but I have perfect Sam Elliott voice, though.
You do. Oh, yeah. What a shame we already did the Sam Elliott episode.
I can't do it anymore. I won't do it. You know what? I'm not going to say it.
Just say,
you know what you
it's
are.
just a happy new year. But in your
It's just a happy new year.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect.
I have always wanted to like intentionally get drunk, to get hungover, to record the lower voice part for like a voiceover character.
Oh my God.
Because like, you know, when you try and strain or you like put something down and it does not sound correct at all. And I would just, I want to do it like this.
Okay. Here's what happened.
Yeah.
a sweet little file got corrupted. Mm-hmm. And suddenly there was just a Cory half of the conversation and not a Natalie half of the conversation. So you would have
Natalie's is really entertaining because it just goes, okay. There's dead silence for 30 minutes.
Oh my God. That's so funny. But yeah, so here we are re-recording. And now it actually is New Year's Eve.
I know. Because we were doing a bunch of fun banter back on December 12th when we originally recorded about what it was going to, like, as if it was New Year's, because we realized this was going to be coming out on New Year's.
We wanted to acknowledge for you, our audience, that for you, in real time, it would be New Year's Eve or around New Year's.
We didn't want to confuse you.
No. I think we're doing a pretty bad job of not confusing you.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to.
No.
We didn't want it to be like this.
We didn't want to. And I think we fixed it.
I think we did.
And now you're not confused. And we're in the future. And I am...
It's fine.
I don't want to say... I'm not excited for the new year, if we are going to talk about New Year's real quickly. I think it'll be... I don't know. Like, you know when you're sort of like geared up for the new year and you're like, everything's going to be different and it's going to be new and exciting. And I don't not feel that. I don't know. It doesn't feel like momentous this year. I don't know.
I spent last New Year's eating charcuterie on my floor by myself in my bedroom. I was in Chicago. My roommates had COVID, and so we were just locked in our rooms. I watched no balls drop. I watched no fireworks. I was about to leave for my disastrous California trip. I didn't celebrate it in any way, shape, or form other than drinking a bottle of Prosecco by myself in my room and eating ham. But this year, I feel like way more excited. I just feel like I'm very ready to like hit the ground running. I have a lot I want to do in the new year that I'm like very excited about. And I'm very, very excited to leave this year behind me. That's what I'm mostly excited about. I don't think everything's going to change. I don't think I might not follow through on not even one resolution. But
well, just don't make any.
I'm excited for it not to actively not be 2022 anymore.
I love your excitement for the belief that next year will be at all different.
Well, it's at least not gonna I just feel like I started off the energy of the year with such bad vibes.
Yeah. And so far your New Year's has started with nothing but good vibes.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah, we don't know how your New Year's will have started, but by the time this comes out, it will have started.
Well, it'll start with me working at someone else's wedding. So.
Oh, okay. Well.
Happy New Year to the happy couple.
On New Year's?
Tonight.
Yeah. Tonight. Oh, right, because it's New Year's Eve.
It is.
Oh, I'm so thrown off.
But anyway, we did want to come back here in the future. We did. To give you our poems, because that is the point of the podcast. So if we had everything but that, I feel like it would be a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, because up until now, you've listened to 30 minutes of us talking. And then what if it just went silent for no reason?
I feel like that's not ideal.
I think there are people yelling outside my building.
What good timing for that to be happening.
I guess that means that you should read first.
Okay.
Because then I'll just mute myself.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. What if all I want is the W? Not just to win, but to walk 21 miles into so much nowhere. What if I want to scream straight at the glaciers and tread everywhere that I do not belong? If I keep believing that everything is built to go so horribly wrong, I'm going to stop believing in anything at all. January will stop being the month of beginnings and start being the month that steals whatever hope I had left in my heart. Less a fluke, more a statue. Do you think the ice will think me kind? Hold my cloud of breath and still relinquish it as mine. Do you think these are peaks I could withstand, or will I end with fingers wrapped in tarnished bands? I have pinned every last hope on you before seeing your beauty and called it future. But what was I left with? A hollowness incurable and an even greater incurable capacity for the words I forgive you. I want to see myself in the clouds. I want to taste the air made of nothing but spice and possibility, but nothing is promised. And the ground will never mean ground the way it used to. Chile is not California, will never be California, but it may still be dark. And I want to believe in light. But anything could still leave you in the dark these days.
Oh.
I forgot how sad that was.
Well, see, because I wasn't going to say sad. I was going to say optimistic. It has like a lot of optimistic energy in it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because like talking about how Chile is not California, it will not be California, and knowing that California was such a disaster, it's like saying like, it is a bit of, we can't get worse than this, but you just seem very like proud and excited. Not proud, maybe proud's not the word, but like sort of determined to know that history is not going to repeat itself, and that there's like an optimisticness on the horizon.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Maybe it's just about tweaking that last line, because I think you're right. There's like, I want to taste the air made of nothing but spice and possibility. I want to see myself in the clouds. Like all those lines. Like, yeah, I feel like it is kind of like these great things that I want.
Yeah.
I think maybe just not ending on anything could leave you in the dark these days. Woof! What an ending line!
Yeah.
I feel like I might need to change that ending line, because that's not the point of the poem.
Yeah, you do then go back and be like, but it could be California. Who knows? Right. Is this in your book?
No.
Interesting.
I feel like it should be. I feel like this kind of captures... I feel like maybe I just need to tweak that end there a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember reading this 3 weeks ago?
I do. As I was reading it, I was like, oh, I forgot about that.
I remembered bits of it. Like, I remember the first line.
Yeah. What if all I want is the W, not just to win?
Yeah.
So that's because the place we wanted to go, there's this trail called the W, and it's this 21-mile hiking trail.
Did you do the full 21 miles?
No, this is on the trip that someone invited me to.
Right.
I cannot afford.
But I can't afford the 21 miles.
Cannot.
Well, hopefully, some type of angel benefactor flutters down from beyond the above.
I think this one is going to be a pass, and that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's good.
As much as I might have added it to my bucket list when I heard of the trip, I feel like maybe now not the right time. Well, yeah, let's hear yours. Have the people stopped with the shouting?
I think the shouting's done. I don't know if I will use this or the original version that I have. We'll see. We'll see how they sound in the moment. Also, there's a lot of scribbles and a lot of arrows. And I think at the moment, I knew exactly how I wanted this to sound in the past and now in the future. But still the past for when the podcast comes out. Sure. I don't know what I want. So we'll read it and we'll think and we'll see. I think I romanticize romance and idealize ideas. And when I think of you, you are all ideas and romance and wood and tile and cement and fairy dust. You are quite literally the thing of dreams. I don't know that I'll ever know you like this, but I'll know you either way. You're on the beach, high in the mountains, in the thick of the natural heathered grasses and the mile-wide trees. I built the whitewood wraparound porch, a sleek, smoothened cement deck with the help of my lover. Every fight and every nail and rivet and laughter over the lack of level lines and every plank and pour, the vast open concrete floors fit perfectly with the tightened living space and used fog-warped furniture. The bed is placed in the center of the room, pushed to the corner and the wall to make space, to give space. I read and sketch under the hairs of a great willow sequoia palm tree in the front yard, loosely planted by the shore and the hills of the northern South Coast Ridge. The full-length windows provide perfect privacy to the rest of the canopy of beachgoers. Stainless, weathered wicker furniture complements every wall with geometric-shaped seashell-roped lamps and a fireplace. Yeah, a fireplace. To light the night. Here, high up on the beach, miles from anything, seconds from the sea, I'll lay my head. Somewhere where the field meets the forest, meets the sea.
That's so beautiful. I think my favorite thing, is the willow sequoia palm tree.
Yeah.
I love that it's so ideal that, because those are such different vibes, and then what you're describing are such different vibes, but they're all you totally get the dream home vibe from it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ugh.
I mean, I know I like it. I don't know. Yep.
You're talking about your artistic endeavors and how you would sit under the tree to sketch and all that. And it would be such a different vibe to sit under a sequoia tree to do that, or to sit under a palm tree and do that, or to sit under a willow tree and do that. And you want all of it.
I want all of it.
Because in your head, it's perfect. And sometimes, depending on your mood, it's a sequoia tree, or it's a palm tree, or that's so brilliant. Because it's like you're creating this thing that it's such the epitome of your dream home that it's everything at once.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
And it'll never happen.
But a version of it might. You know, your tree can never morph from a sequoia to a willow, but...
And I can never have some type of, like, cross-pollinated three-way hybrid of a Willapamoya.
Willapamoya? Maybe you start breeding trees and...
Like a very, very thick base that goes very high and has very long, dangly palm fronds that stretch all the way to the tree or the ground, the floor.
It's perfect. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's how we feel about a lot of things, and I think, you know, maybe my house is kind of the epitome of that, or like the dream home is that there are so many styles and vibes and ideas that are kind of baked into my brain, and you want that, but you also want the other one, and it's the same idea of me wanting to, you know, be the rich, just rich. No, like be the rich, like the rich relative that sort of like shows up, and they're the one who like travels all over the world, and they're the ones that like the nieces and the nephews are very jealous of, that they're like, they seem very free and they always roll in with expensive gifts. Or, I mean, like, even like that, or it's you and your travel partner and you travel across the world, and that's just the thing that you guys love doing. Mm-hmm. Versus then also wanting to still be like the 90-year-old elderly, like sort of memory losing person at the head of this massive table of little children and your kids and their kids and just the whole thing, and the dogs and everything running around, and just chaos. And it's very hard to think that you could ever actually achieve both of those things, or ever have them at the same time. I mean, you're someone who kind of focuses on, maybe you focus on your life or the lives of others. And that ends up being kind of where your preferences lie, and that I feel like shapes the life then you kind of end up with. But I guess, you know, life is more than a Norman Rockwell painting. So it evolves, and it kind of doubles back on itself, and it does a whole bunch of things. So
absolutely. No, I know what you mean. It's like you sort of feel like you have to choose between, am I gonna like follow my career dreams, or am I gonna like make it a priority to find a partner and have a family, or am I gonna travel, or, you know, what? And it feels like you have to decide between them rather than having like a little bit of everything. But like I say, screw it and do it all.
90% of my anxiety is me like picking one thing and then getting shiny object syndrome, looking to the other direction, being like, well, those two people sure seem happy, but I'm kind of doing well in my career right now. But what if I had my career and a lover? Yeah. Okay. And then I sort of venture over there, and I was like, weird, I haven't shown up to work in 2 weeks. All right, maybe I'll go back this way. It's just like, I don't know, I'm usually a type of kind of all in person to whatever I'm doing. But then also get very FOMO, as people call it. FOMO. So
I feel that.
Yeah.
But hey, this is going to be a new year.
This is a new year.
It's full of possibility. It's full of great choices you can make, and it's all good. It's all good. There's all good choices before you.
It'll be a fantastic... You know what? I won't set too high a bar. It will be a year happens.
And thankfully, we'll have our Pathetic and Poetic family to share.
Yeah, what's the podcast called?
What is it called? Who are we?
Oh my god, you know what I'm sitting in? My squeaky chair.
Ugh.
Which we talk about in the beginning of this episode 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
And in the episode before that, when you sang your squeaky chair song.
Oh, my beautiful, beautiful magnum opus squeaky chair.
I have that song stuck in my head on a loop daily. And that last note, gorgeous.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. so much.
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah,
both
thank you guys.
3 weeks ago and today.
And in the future.
And then also in the future when you actually hear this. I hope your day is going great over there. I hope the weather's nice. I hope the new year has gone off to a great start.
Are you talking to me, to them, or to the reflection of your face in the Google Meet?
All of the above.
Okay. I also hope all of our days are merry and bright. Or what you said.
Merry and bright.
Happy New Year's to everybody.
Happy New Year!
And to all a good, always remember.
And don't you dare ever in your whole life in the new year of new and ever forget.
Goodbye!